Hello, anybody who's watching this, welcome to my reaction to Fallout 2 is an absolute nightmare. This is why. By Up Is Not Jump. I watched the first one, and now I'm gonna watch this. Because I enjoyed it, and I think Fallout 2 is better than Fallout 1. Probably in every way. And I think there are mechanics that have been changed. It's just a bigger map and a good plot. Personal also had a good plot, so they kind of similar in that. You can't really compare plots that much unless it's absolute shit. So yeah, I have nothing else to say, just want to watch this, and then if you want to help out the channel, there is a donation link in the description below, and you can also recommend something for me to react to through it. You can also use comment section for recommendations. Subscribe if you want low energy, low quality content.
A green screen checklist. 1. Don't wear any green.
Great pants.
Fallout 2. I don't like this game.
Really? Alright.
Fallout 2 is that game, you know? That everyone raves about being the best experience of their life. Like if Prometheus was the Greek god of gaming, handing it down to us lowly mortals to enrich our lives. Well, I guess this is slightly better than Pac-Man. Okay, I accept this game may have been mankind's greatest achievement back in 1998, when all they had to play with was old radiator parts and subtle background lead poisoning. Which, by the way, is actually still prevalent to this day. But that's a story for another rushed science video. Fallout 2 gives me heartburn. Actually, coffee's giving me heartburn. Am I okay? Do I need a doctor? Just don't rely on my doctor skill in this game to help me out, am I right? But we'll get to that.
Not with 1%, you don't.
I say we'll get to that. I never actually wrote a follow-up in the script. Fallout 2, on the surface, looks and plays exactly like Fallout 1. So expect the same sort of war.
Oh, I actually thought about it in the first video, but didn't mention it. I expected him to say when he was talking about the convoluted, or a bit convoluted, is it like HUD? No, that's not it. The mechanics and stuff like that. The skill upgrades. It always weirded me out that it doesn't go to 100, it goes to 300, and then the higher you get, the more skill points you use to improve it. That's a bit of a weird mechanic in my opinion. That's all I want to say.
Oh yeah, this seems completely fair. As I said, I didn't really like Fallout 1 the first time I played through it. I found it only really got good when I re-explored the game as different characters and found how varied your experience could be. Sorry, I keep thinking about this video thumbnail I found earlier of all these different YouTubers reacting to the enemy propeller head in Resident Evil Village. It's just led me to question why I do anything in life. Booking a studio, writing scripts, editing, when I could just do this and be paid literal millions. Actually, let's recreate that thumbnail even more authentically. It isn't really possible for me to play through all of Fallout 2 like I did with Fallout 1. And it isn't really possible for me to play through all of Fallout 2.
I realized while editing, I played through this game once 5 years ago. Oh. But you didn't realize when you were playing now or recording the video. Okay. Fair enough.
Like I did with Fallout 1 and discover all its hidden gems. These are the Chaos Emeralds. This game is literally 60 hours. 80 if you're an idiot. Fallout 2 isn't bad. No one here is saying that. Well, actually, I'm saying that. Ah! No, the characters and the voice acting are basically flawless, and the quests and puzzles have an incredible amount of depth to them and are really good. I don't remember what I wrote.
Not later on. I think he was in first, now in second, and he's in third game.
script. But this game is literally 80% text boxes, and yeah, that's great if you're William Butler or a human brain. It's 2021, people. My attention span has been completely destroyed by COVID alerts and Twitter alerts. Obviously, we know which one is more damaging to society, though. It's Twitter. Make a video about how much you hate Twitter. Back then, people only owned 2 or 3 games. Anything would do. And yes, the economy was booming, so we weren't yet fervently insisting to let the old and sickly die in the streets to keep it afloat like some 20th century fucked up version of the Wicker Man. Killing me won't bring back your goddamn Bitcoin! Really brings a tear to the eye. Ah, the bees, the bees! But back then, just finding a store that even sold video games was a Herculean feat in of itself. Just loading a web page on my PC took out our entire neighborhood's phone line for 2 weeks. You had to choose, talk to your nan this month or attempt to buy Crazy Taxi online.
Yeah, I guess. I got internet only in like 2009, or maybe in the end of 2008, I can't remember well anymore. But that was still a thing. It wasn't as slow as that, there were no sounds like that, but it still was a phone line that you either talk on the phone or use internet. And then when you get a random call from somebody you don't give a shit about, actually, worse than that, of the phone of my old apartment, well, my parents' apartment and stuff, where I was growing up, had the same number as an old number for the library. So at least once a month, some dipshit will call that number and it's like, is it a library? No, but I found this number in a phone book from the 90s. Is it a library? Alright.
I've spent a lot of time playing Fallout.
God damn it. Why so fast? I couldn't think of a better title. Okay.
I've spent a lot of time playing Fallout 2, trying to work out if this game just isn't for me or if it's a really boring game.
Probably
and I think the answer might be both. Uh-oh. Fallout 2 starts you off in Arroyo, a spiritual village that exists in the post.
I feel like there are a lot of boring games, but usually there will be someone to enjoy it. So it might be boring for you, but that would just mean it's not for you in the long run.
Apocalyptic wasteland. You live here, but also your village is slowly dying.
The signs are everywhere. Sick children.
You are picked as the chosen one and are being sent out into the wasteland to find a Vault-Tec brand Gek in the hopes that it can save your village. A Gek, for those who don't know, is basically an advanced terraforming device. Oh, one of those, thanks for clearing that up. The game starts with you being sent on a trial to prove that you can survive the wasteland.
Nah. I'm trying to remember what it stands for exactly, but I can't.
But this also doubles as the game's tutorial. It also lets you get used to the game's gorgeous interface. Here we are taught how to use explosives, find and disarm traps, and even sneak. Well, at least this one's safe. Oh, for God's sake! We even learn that if we say the right things in conversation, we can talk ourselves out of dangerous fights. Although I clicked the wrong button here and was murdered 5 times in a row during the fucking tutorial. I really like this opening sequence, though. I especially like that as we explore our village, we find that our character is very unlike all of our brethren. Everyone here sees the ordinary pre-war company Vault-Tec as some kind of divine entity. Yet our character, like us the player, seems to know that this is all total nonsense. It's a very clever way to connect ourselves to our player character early on. There are 2 animated characters here, each more hideous than the last. But they give a huge amount of personality and context to our village, which is important as it's our job to save them. We leave and our only goal is to find Vic, a trader who might know where a vault is that contains a Gek. We quickly arrive at a nearby town, and for me, this is where things dive bomb quite substantially. The first thing we find is this notice board, which gives us the details of every quest in the area. We find that there are Brahmin that need help, Whiskey Bob has a still that needs fixing at Ma Buckner's place, a bathhouse is run by Jenny and Big Nose Sal, a shop dealing in lizard pelts called the Golden Gecko Tavern is owned by Sarjag, Slim needs help dealing with rats in Trapper Town, Vic deals in Vault-Tec objects on the east side of town, and Arden Buckner needs help finding a trapper called Smile. See, this covers everything I despise about a lot of video games. You just rock up in town and you're completely bombarded with quests, context, and random locations. It's so unimmersive. This is not the way any story would ever be told. You're a wizard, Harry, said Hagrid. I'm a wizard. Yes, it's all true, said Hagrid again. Now, Diagon Alley is spread into 17 different quadrants with 92 different traders. The first alphabetically on the list is Amadeus Close, run by the late great Athena Og. And pretty much every single location in the game does this. See, here's how Fallout 2 works as a game.
Okay.
First, you enter a new location and speak to every single person, asking every single possible question and statement. You then inspect and loot every single building, person, and object you can find in that location.
Also
and only now you can complete every single quest and puzzle that you've collected on your journey. Every location, though, has literally dozens of new people to talk to at length, so very quickly the game becomes this dialogue box screen. Disagree? I'll take you on. I spent literally 2 hours talking.
I don't disagree, there is a lot of dialogue, but that doesn't make it immediately bad if dialogue is enjoyable. Also, you don't have to do every quest if you don't want to. You don't have to use the board at all. And I feel like that's... I don't know how that's unimmersive if it's quite realistic. Because you come into town and then it's immediately... Like, there is a board that people talk about their problems, specifically for other people to notice. I feel like in this kind of setting, that would actually be realistic. You know, it's not just... It's for people who come in for the first time, or for people who live there and want to check out. Maybe they can help. Maybe there will be a notice that, like, I'm giving away a thing or I'm selling a thing, something like that. It's a notice board. It could be used for anything.
To all 172,000 people in the town Reading, only to find out I was too lower level to complete any of the quests I collected. And so I left, only to stumble upon New Reno, which is the biggest location in the entire game. New Reno has 31 unique characters to talk to, each possessing a small screenplay's worth of dialogue. Sometimes, though, even the non-text-based quests make me want to throw my computer in the bin. Take this guy who asks me to guard his Brahmin from some wild dogs. Here they come. Here they come. When am I gonna get to play? Who's gonna take their turn after? Wait, are the cows taking their turns before me? Here's your fleshed out primary goal with character-driven.
That means you have low perception, I believe. Perception gives you more. How's it? Speed in battle? I don't remember exact term. But gives you chance to go first. Not even the chance, like, depending on the amount of certain attribute you have, you go first or not. Not... Fuck was that? Not first, but just depending on the amount of that of said attribute, the order of people, of turns of people, is chosen. And I think perception increases that.
Can you help me deal with these rats? I had a lot of technical issues in fights too, probably because I'm trying to run a 22-year-old game on Windows 10, like running Pong on the Sierra Lawrence supercomputer. She can't take it, Captain, it's too much! My game eventually just started freezing every time I entered a fight, and would only unfreeze once the fight was over. Okay.
Yeah.
You have died.
Fabulous. Speaking of, the death screens in this game do not fuck about.
Arroyo attempts to send out others to search for the Gek, but they die quickly, and the village soon follows.
You crawl into a nearby cave for shelter, but are eaten alive by starving children.
Your quest to find the Garden of Eden and return it to your village has failed.
The lives of all your family will very likely be ruined by climate change.
Not even the carrion eaters are interested in your radiated corpse.
You stepped on a piece of Lego.
Fallout 1 has loads of huge locations with lots of verbal exposition.
Yeah.
Verbal exposition. But I find it a lot more approachable because these areas are regularly mixed in with other sections that focus primarily on action or exploration. Fallout 2, yes, has lots of interesting ruins and scientific bases to explore. But outside of these, Fallout 2 just throws literally hundreds of people at you in a constant barrage. And each of them have enough dialogue to fill War and Peace the world over. And
No, it's you don't have to go from town to town just to speak to people. You can go and explore just a different location that's not necessarily a town, like where you're just gonna fight, or you can go across the map just finding random encounters, or even special random encounters that are very fun. And I doubt, and I would assume he didn't mention anything in Fallout 1. I don't know if he will in Fallout 2, but maybe not. Maybe because he never seen one, so he doesn't know that there is a mechanic. I don't know.
And honestly, I just get really bored.
He actually didn't talk at all about the map and just walking from place to place in the first game.
And they also bought a very big tin of tiger food, in case the tiger should come to tea again. But he never did. Oh, that's very depressing. I will admit, there are a lot of people out there that enjoy this gameplay style. No! But I'm not one of them. Again, I'm not saying that Fallout 2 is bad.
You said it in the beginning.
Disco Elysium, for example, is without a doubt one of the best written video games I've ever played. But it's paced exactly like Fallout 2, and I think that's why I didn't really enjoy it either. However, Fallout 2 is an improvement over Fallout 1 in a lot of ways. Michelle, what do you think?
Please don't ever shave me.
Many of the interface problems I spoke about in my Fallout 1 review have been fixed. You can
That's why I didn't remember that part. Because of the inventory systems and everything is exactly pretty much exactly the same. It kind of blended in, and I didn't remember that Fallout 1 had a limit of 3 digits in those wheels. Okay, that makes more sense.
Doorways out of the way. I, of course, didn't realize this until the end of my 80-hour playthrough, though. So what I would do is spend minutes at a time reloading, waiting for people to move out of my way until I finally had to kick them out of the way of doorways way. Move! But I'm sure if I had just read the manual, I could have learned this earlier.
You probably could. I know.
The quests in this game are also much easier to complete because they've been redesigned a little bit in what I imagine was quite a revolutionary idea. For example, let's say a quest has 4 things you need to do to complete it. So if you only manage to gather the Flagon style and ingest the Wompa Bompa Bompa Bomb, but if you can't work out what else you need to do, you can just hand the quest in with these things done, but receive fewer rewards. But if you can work out that you also need to strangle the Wanamingo and unintentionally brew the flaccid potion of hardening, you can then hand in the quest with all 4 of these things completed and receive maximum rewards. It means the game retains its challenge for those who seek it, but also makes it easier if you just want to move on.
Yeah.
I need to stop to, right. It's a mechanic that many large games like these continue to use because it works so well. There are also numerous self-contained puzzles that are some of the best I've ever played. The hacking of computers is a great example of this. Different computers will give you a list of pretty authentic functions, and you need to learn what they do and then use these functions to work out what data they hold. You see, it's not a game of Pipe Dream or fucking Hangman. Like here, I'm trying to fix this computer, so it makes a lot of sense to maybe try and run a general maintenance procedure. Searching. Iron Mountain, offline. NORAD, offline. Searching. Atomic Power Plant 5. Navarro Refinery. Control Station. Enclave.
Enclave. Enclave.
Enclave here. Why isn't your video feed working?
Is anyone there? My mic's not working. Is your camera on? I can see all of you. Can you see me? Whose screen is it?
Alright. Enclave? Yay.
Something's missing.
The bad boys.
A crucial organization is either lost to time or conceivably in hiding. I don't know who it represents. I don't know who it contains. I don't know what it is. But there are traces and shadows of it everywhere. So you know how I said the game drops you into side quests so quickly that you don't really get to develop any motivation to do them? Well, there's an organization in Fallout 2 called the Enclave. You may have heard of them. And your motivation to find and investigate them is developed flawlessly. As the game progresses, if you keep an eye out, you can find their remains, witness their iron fist, or just stumble upon their watchful eyes. They grow more and more mysterious as the game goes on, and you only ever really catch glimpses of them. When you eventually track them down, the payoff is appropriate to the build-up too. I think it helps that they're all given some of the best voice acting I've ever heard in a video game.
A civilian? How in the hell did a civilian get on this base? I'll have someone's ass for dinner!
The fuck? Who is it? What? I should kick your fucking ass. Who is this?
Meeting the Enclave happens in the final 5 or 6 hours of the game, and it's a really great ending given how well they've been developed throughout the course of the game. Does it make it worth what I've been through to get here? No. I think the size here is what hurts this game a little. This game was made in a year, which is insane given the quality of the writing and how big it is.
But it uses a lot of the same models. Like the interface. That's the word I was looking for. I forgot the word for it anyway. The interface is the same, pretty much exactly the same. The mechanics of the game, the fight system, a lot of things are the same. That's why it was a bit easier in comparison if game 1 comes out this year and then game 2 will come out in like 5. The development started after the release of the first one, of course. Also, maybe the making of the game could have started before. Technically, it did because they used the same fucking interface and stuff. Art. My cat is doing something shady behind the door. Okay.
But remember what I said Fallout 1 had 21 talking heads? Fallout 2 only has 13, with 5 of those being the Enclave at the end, and 2 of them being from your village at the beginning. This means during a good 40-hour stint through the Wasteland in Fallout 2, you'll only meet 6 unique talking characters. You see, the thing is, I always thought the visuals and the voice acting from these talking heads gave a great amount of context to the game, especially given that the graphics are a little shite. And without them, we just have even more bright walls of plain text to read. So there we have it. This game just isn't my cup of tea. Games with lots of text are fine. The Outer Wilds, for example, is mostly text-driven, but it still tickles my pickle, if you know what I mean. And I'd stare at Mr. House's mustache while he recited all of Atlas Shrugged until he shrugged the whole damn thing off. But this isn't the entire fucking game. Overall then, Fallout 2 for me starts and ends brilliantly. Its random encounter system is legendary. Do you wish to encounter some homeless people butchering some civilians? What? And it has more endings than fucking Blade Runner. But whenever I play it, I'm always finding myself either bored or frustrated. And don't worry, I know what's coming. So how does an arrogant, illiterate son of a bitch, uneducated asshole, looks like David Bowie before he kicked his heroin addiction? Why do people keep saying that about me? So how does an arrogant, illiterate son of a bitch, uneducated ass... Okay. Let's cool things down, people. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. And oh boy, do I have a good one for you today. Just so we're clear,
that one. I like it so much.
See, I'm wasted on you. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes for creative people like you and me. You can explore new skills, develop passions you already have, or just get lost in being creative. Skillshare has classes on pretty much everything. I've spoken about a few already that really helped me, like animation, creative writing, and film and video. But today I'd like to share a class I did on lifestyle called The Ultimate Self-Care Playbook: Discover and Nurture Your Centered Self by Jonathan Van Ness. Now, if you didn't already know, Jonathan is fabulous.
Okay.
It has a great introduction to skincare and yoga, which anyone can quickly pick up. But the best part of this class for me was learning how to identify and remove limiting beliefs. Using Jonathan's techniques, I learned that I kept repeatedly telling myself that I'm not getting enough done, with the root cause being that I don't see myself as being good enough.
Isn't that just anxiety?
Jonathan then taught me techniques to tackle these beliefs, so I was less hard on myself all the time, and thus I am now less stressed. And so, if you'd like to try out this class or any others, all you gotta do is click the link in my description. The first 1,000 of my subscribers who do click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, so you can go out and explore your creativity. Here's where I picked it up, but he's gone, so here's a pen.
Okay. Well, it still wears me out that when he was editing the video, he realized that he played the game 5 years ago. I guess maybe he didn't play it all the way, so he didn't like put a lot of hours into it, so he just forgot that he played it. He didn't say he beat it, I don't think, in that text. Also, this time he mentioned the map and how you travel through it, which is great, because it's quite a big part of your travels, literally. He didn't mention a lot of places though. Just focus more on the cities and dialogues with people, nothing like Glow. Is Glow part of the first one? No, I think the whole map of the first one is in the second one. It's like I'm having a debate with myself. Welcome to my life. Anyway, this is a good video. I can understand why he would think it's boring, well, because he explained it in quite a detail, and it just not his thing. I probably cannot beat Fallout 1 and 2 again. I don't know, I feel like it was one and done for me, because I beat it, I felt good, but going back to it, especially I usually stuck doing the same thing. Like if I play Skyrim, I always play with a bow because that's the easiest way to progress and stuff. But here in Fallout 1 and 2, I usually go through stealing and then quick save and quick load through steal, so I can steal successfully and nobody would ever notice me. Which is a tactic, but I think I'm gonna get stuck with it so I can have a easier, like the beginning of the game, the easier everything in the game. And I feel like doing this once was enough, you know what I mean? It's just how my brain works. There are rarely games that I can play multiple times through. Like Mass Effect, when, again, I can't really beat them in a different way, but I just enjoy the content it has so fucking much. Especially 2 and 3. Mass Effects, not Fallout. Anyway. Thank you, anybody who watched this. I appreciate it a lot and I hope to see you next time. Sorry for my ramblings and everything else, and goodbye. Have a great life. Because one of us has to.